Okay, here we are for the last part of this page. So we need to factor fully. This doesn't look like a trinomial that we can usually factor. So I'm going to take a look at this and say, well, 12 is divisible by 2. These are all even numbers, but I'm pretty sure I can divide by something bigger. What about 4? Let's try 4. So I'm putting that out in front, so now I have to divide each of these by 4. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. I'm going to write x squared plus 16 divided by 4 is 4. And negative 24 divided by 4 is going to be negative 6. Okay. So if I multiplied those out, I would get back the same thing. Is there anything else I can divide out? I can't divide out a 3 because this is not divisible by 3. Can't divide another 2, can't divide about another x. That's fine. And I can't factor a trinomial that has this not being a 1. So I'm done. Take a look at this one. This has a 1 in front, so I'm going to use my cross thing. What multiplies to positive 10 that adds to negative 7? So 1 times 9. Sorry, that doesn't work, right? 1 times 10, that doesn't add to 7. 2 times 10, hey, 2, not 2 times 10, 2 times 5. 2 times 5 equals 10. 2 plus 5 equals 7. There we go. So this is the one where we have the two sets of brackets, x, x. These are going to both be positive, and then here, these are the things that go in my brackets, or my factors, which are also my zeros when I do my quadratics and my parabolas. So there we go. Now this one, there's no x term, and there's a negative there. Difference. Is this a perfect square? It sure is, because 10 times 10 equals 100. So here we go, x and an x. It's a difference of squares. This is one where there's a plus and there's a minus, and a 10 and a 10. And you can do it this way too. But when you don't have that term there, we want something that multiplies to negative 100 that adds to 0 because there's no x term. Well, that's a negative 10 and a positive 10. So that's another way of looking at that. You can still use this method if you like it. All right. So I'm going to factor fully. Well, this is not a trinomial, so I'm just going to think, what is the biggest thing I can factor? 2? Yep. 3? No. What about 4? 4. 8, it goes into 4, but I also have some x's. I probably can factor out an x because there's an x here. That's the most because that is the least number. So I'll do the long way here. So what I'm doing is I am dividing each term by whatever I put out in front. Because if I multiply and divide by the same thing, it's like I haven't changed it. So now x divided by x is just going to be x squared divided by x. It's just going to take away the square. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. This is positive. 20 divided by 4 is 5, but x divided by x, that's gone. And there we go. That is fully factored. It's not a trinomial. Here, this is a trinomial. That coefficient is a 1, so I know that can factor. Let's see if it's factorable. What multiplies to 9 that adds to negative 6? What multiplies to 9 that adds to negative 6? Well, let's think about that. Multiples of 9. 1 times 9, okay, that equals 9, but 1 plus 9, that equals 10. And 9 minus 1, that equals 8. There's no way I can get a difference that. Oh, wait a second. What's another multiple? How about 3 times 3? That equals 9. And if I go 3 plus 3, that's 6, but I need it to be negative 6. So let's remind ourselves, this is a positive sign, which means they're both going to be negative. So what about negative 3 and negative 3? Negative 3 times negative 3, that equals 9. Negative 3 plus negative 3, that is 6. So there we go. So x minus 3, x minus 3. But hang on a second, those are the same. So I can simplify that. being squared. And the last one here, again, there's no x term, which reminds me that's a difference of squares. I could check that. Say, well, is 16 a perfect square? You need to use your square root button. Square root is 16. Yes, it is. So that's x squared minus 4 squared. So there's my difference of squares. So that's x minus 4, x plus 4, because those have to add up to 0. So again, what multiplies to negative 16 that adds to 0? It's negative 4 and positive 4. There is the factoring.